In this video, I'm going to be talking about 10 Wizarding World items and whether or not it's even possible these can be within the Hogwarts Legacy game. Now, these range from physical things to people to theories. There's a whole bunch of stuff here, so hopefully you enjoy this one. Right, let's dive straight into this then. And the very first item I wanted to cover is the Hogwarts Express. To level set here right at the beginning, we know the game is set in the late 1800s, so let's say it's probably about 1890, maybe late 1880s. Bit of conjecture there, but that sounds quite likely. That is definitely late that century. So that's the timeline we're going to be using for these. And the Hogwarts Express then. So the Hogwarts Express was actually taken from Crewe. It was built by Muggles in 1830. Now, we're going to kind of skip over the fact that in real life, Crewe Works didn't actually get established till 1840. That was obviously a bit of a mistake in the Wizarding World. But as lore goes, in the Wizarding World, 1830 is when the Hogwarts Express was taken from the Crewe Works and it was put into operation for students. So that is obviously the early 1800s. So absolutely, the Hogwarts Express could be in this game. Don't expect it to look like the one from the film though. That was a Hogwarts Express that was built in the 1930s. So if they do have something, it's not going to quite look like that. But for all intents and purposes, I imagine it will be red. Okay, second item then, and staying quite close to the Hogwarts Express, we're talking about platform 9 3/4. Platform 9 3/4 was not an actual station when the Hogwarts Express started, so the Hogwarts Express was coming from somewhere else. But platform 9 3/4, obviously made famous by the books and films of Harry Potter, was actually made in the 1850s. Now, King's Cross itself was built in 1852, and it was around that time that platform 9 3/4 was used as well. So we know that this game is going to be set in and around Hogwarts. We know Hogsmeade's there, we know the Forbidden Forest is there, obviously we know Hogwarts Castle. We don't know quite what other areas are going to be there, but if you are going to go on the Hogwarts Express and you are going to go to the terminal, then it will be platform 9 3/4 that you can go to. So the third item then, and the last one, which is staying in transport objects on this list, is the night bus. Now, what is the night bus? Well, the night bus is obviously, it was in the Harry Potter films, but the night bus is where if any witch or wizard is stranded, all they have to do is hold out their wand to summon the night bus. Now, again, this is set in the late 1800s, so you are not going to be able to have, or there will be no chance of having a night bus as we know it from the films and the books. But the night bus was actually introduced in 1865. So you could have the night bus in Hogwarts Legacy, but it's obviously not going to be the one we are used to. Back in 1865, buses in England and the UK, Scotland and all those places, was a horse-drawn bus. So if they are going to have it, it's going to be horse-drawn. Do I think they're going to have the night bus? Probably not a Hogwarts thing, but they could have it. So the fourth item then, we're moving away from transport. This time we're going to plants, and a rather large plant, because we're going to be talking about the Whomping Willow. Now, the Whomping Willow, that was put in place by Albus Dumbledore, so Lupin could use a secret passage all the way to Hogsmeade and the Shrieking Shack in order that he could get away from prying eyes. As you can probably imagine, that was not in the late 1800s. That was around the 1970s, in fact 1971. So the Whomping Willow, which is a very rare plant and for all intents and purposes was not on Hogwarts grounds, should not be in this game. So you should not get the Whomping Willow. It wasn't at Hogwarts. So halfway through this list then, and now we're moving to animals and specifically pets. You've always been able to have pets for a long, long time at Hogwarts. So yes, you can have pets. The interesting bit and the bit that people are interested in is actually what pets can you have. Now, in the 1990s, we know that the 3 that you could get when you were joining was an owl, a cat and a toad. However, this seems to be a rule just for first years, because as you got to later years, you could get other animals. For example, Ron had Scabbers the rat. So can you have pets? Yes. What can your pets be? Well, they can kind of be quite a broad selection of animals, really. So the creators can kind of go a bit nuts with this and do whatever they want to do. Okay, we're halfway through now. I'd say if you're enjoying this list, then why not hit the like button? It really helps the channel. And if you want to, hit that subscribe button. So number 6 then. And this time we're talking trading cards. Big RPGs always have collectibles. It's quite an easy thing to think, oh, they might have trading cards. That's a big thing in the Wizarding World. Obviously, they're collected by witches and wizards. and they got introduced in 1926 into chocolate frogs. So does that mean that we can't have trading cards in this game because it was 1926? Well, not really. It just means we're not going to find them in chocolate frogs, because they were in fact made for the first time in the Muggle world in the 1860s. So they are definitely around during the time of this game. Item number 7 then, and we have Peeves. Is he a ghost? Well, actually, he's not a ghost because he wasn't a person. He is more considered to be a physical manifestation of students' mischief, and he come with Hogwarts when it was founded in 1993. Can he be in the game? Yes, he can, because he was definitely there. Should he be in the game? Absolutely, he is part of the castle. Will he be in the game? I very much expect he will be. I mentioned a bit of theory. This next one's a theory. So, the decree for the reasonable restriction of underage sorcery. Again, this is something that very much was in the books and the films. Harry Potter was obviously very affected by this when the Dementors attacked himself and Dudley, and obviously that was a big storyline, but I won't go into too much detail about that. But that it's for witches and wizards under 17 that they are not allowed to use magic outside of their education. When was this put in place? It was actually put in place in 1875, so we should find we are not allowed to do magic outside of Hogwarts and Hogwarts' immediate grounds, which is an interesting one. Some people think that this tells the Ministry of Magic the person who has used the magic. That is not the case. It just tells them where it happened. Therefore, it could be there. We'll have to see. So item number 9 then, and this time we're moving on to a physical person. And in particular, I'm talking about Garrick Ollivander. And he is the person who sells the wands in Ollivander's shop in Diagon Alley. Many people know that that has been around for a long, long time in London. It wasn't him who originally set it up. He goes from a very old and prestigious family of wizards and witches. And he himself was actually born in 1909. So even if we can go to Diagon Alley, which I'm suspecting we can't, and even if you can go to Oliver's The Wand Shop, which I'm expecting you can, but the one in Hogsmeade, then it is not going to be Garrick Ollivander. The last item on my list then that I want to go through is centaurs. And I just wanted to touch on something in the Forbidden Forest. Again, these play a big part in the films at various points in different films. And are you going to find centaurs roaming around the Forbidden Forest when you're playing the Hogwarts Legacy? Well, potentially yes. I say potentially you should do, because they were founded in the 19th century or before. So they should be there. You should see them. Let me know any thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.